Oh, hey, are we live now? It was, we was having some technical difficulties there. It was saying that can't go live. There's an error. Try again in a second. I've never seen that notification pop up right here on StreamYard. Anyway, hey, let's get this intro out of the way. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hold tight.
This is the Daily Joe Podcast, October 6, 2021.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Joe Podcast. It's been a while since we've done something like this. It's been quite some time. Yeah, man. Been a long time. Anyway, hey, man. First of all, a big shout out to my stepdaughter, Kayla. Today is her birthday, so I know she's not watching. She's working. But anyway, happy birthday, Kayla. The big 3-2 today, 32. Hey, all right. Yeah, today, everybody that's in this little guitar community here, is aware of what today is, the 1-year anniversary of Eddie's passing, right? And I thought I would just reflect on my personal memories with Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Rhodey, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Thank you for jumping in. Appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for watching. And, I was glancing over Facebook when I woke up a few hours ago, because I work the night shift, and a lot of people in the guitar community are posting pictures of Eddie and all that stuff, which is to be expected. I mean, Eddie was a huge influence, man, and I didn't post anything, and I said, you know what, I'll just do a podcast and go live and just talk about how he influenced me, of course, along with millions of other people. As you can see, just take a look behind me, It's like, wow. But yeah, the thing that got me about Eddie is he was so unique and different, and it was never heard anything like that before. Not that I was some seasoned guitar player way back then when I was a teenager. But my buddy Ralph, that we do the Joe and Ralph show together. Well, we haven't done one in quite a while, but we do them occasionally. Let's just put it that way. And so that'll be coming soon. And we were riding in a car with another friend of ours we went to school with. And we were going to a talent show one night at my high school. And he put in, he had a cassette tape in his cassette deck in there. And I was sitting in the back. My two buddies were up front, of course, and we were cruising down to the school. And Jim Guidry, what is going on? Bozique, how are you doing, man? Thank y'all for tuning in and saying hello. I know this is an odd time of day to go live and do a podcast, but my window is very small. But anyway, we were heading to a talent show, and I heard the intro for Mean Street come through the speakers, I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what it was. I knew it sounded cool, and my buddy Ralph looked at the guy driving. His name was Jeff Griffith. And he said, hey, man, was that Van Halen? And he goes, yeah. And I'm in the back seat going, that's Van Halen? I really didn't know nothing about Van Halen. I was listening to totally different kinds of music. Yeah, it's been a year already, Bozique says. Yeah, sure enough, man. It's been a year already. It's fast. Goes by fast, doesn't it? And he said, yeah, that's Van Halen. I was like, okay. So that was really my first, official thing that I heard. And I didn't know, like I said, I hadn't, at that point in time, I didn't even have a guitar. I didn't have nothing, And so that really started to pique my interest just to, I was like, man, because the last person, for me, I was like, well, the only other guitar player that really, even back then, stuck out in my mind was Jimi Hendrix, because him doing the Star Spangled Banner, that was a big deal for way back then. And anyway, so I hear this intro from Mean Street, which today I can't, if anybody can do that, man, big props to you, because I don't understand how he's doing that. I tried it, and I was like, but Eddie was really very rhythmic, and incredible. Anyway, so it moved from hearing that in that my buddy's car, and then Live Without a Net came out on VHS, and the place I was working part time when I got out of high school in the afternoons, I had a buddy of mine that he had rented that tape from the store, Live Without a Net. And I went to it. He was a big Van Halen fan too. And but not as big as a fan as I was, obviously, but he enjoyed Van Halen. And he said, "Hey man, I rented that Live Without a Net on VHS, and my dad has 2 VCRs, and we can make copies of tapes." He said, "Bring me a blank VHS tape, and I'll make you a copy." I said, "Okay." So the next day, I went and I bought I about said cassette. Good Lord, I'm really going back, showing my age. But gave him the VHS tape, and the next day or so, he brought it back, and he wrote on there, Live Without a Net, and and so I took that sucker home, and I just started to watch it, and I was just, of course, this is when Sammy joined the group, right? Now, I do remember seeing parts of the Jump video when I was like 15 years old. I was at my cousin's house. "Mr. Bruce, what is going on? Man, it's so good to see you, Bruce. How are you, man? Thank you for popping in and saying hello." And a big shout out to Mr. Bruce, man. He's getting married this month to his lovely fiancée, Jen. So, congratulations, Mr. Bruce, man, on your upcoming nuptials. That is amazing. Amazing. I'm happy for you, man. Let's see. So he made me the tape, and I took it home. I started to watch it all the time. Like I said, that's when Sammy joined. And even today, man, Sammy's vocals they're incredible. They're absolutely incredible. And but to me, there's always been that big debate, between Van Halen and Van Hagar, right? And you're welcome, Bruce. Thank you. Bruce says it's been a long time since you watched a live stream. I like your avatar, Bruce, of Eddie. That's cool. He said, "It's been ages since I watched a live stream, and today I watched 2. Good for you, man. That's awesome." Sometimes you have to take a break. For me, work is what screws me up, so I can't dedicate the time on here. But anyway, so that's when Sammy had joined, so I was really going down this rabbit hole of Van Halen big time, and I was just watching that live concert VHS tape. I was just blown away. And so then I went, the place I was working part-time after school, it was like this little strip mall, right? And so inside they had a what do you call it, food court. And across from the food court was and get ready for this, for all these young, if anybody young's watching, there was a record store in there that sold albums. They sold cassette tapes. And CDs were in there, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? There was still cassettes and albums back then that were really prevalent. So I would go to that store before I went, because where I worked was right inside that mall. So I would go to the record store a few minutes before I had to clock in. And I started, I'd get like a Van Halen cassette album like once a week. I started with my first, the first one I bought was 5150. And because that was the songs I heard off the Lie Without a Net, right? And I said, I gotta get this freaking album, man. I've got to get this album. And I started listening to that, and then the next week I went back and I got Van Halen, their self-titled debut album. And it went from there. And all the time, back then, the car I had was an 87 Chevy Cavalier. Got it brand new from the Chevy dealership. Right when I was getting ready to turn 17. My dad co-signed and put the down payment on it, and he told me, he said, you got to make the payments, and you got to pay the insurance and the upkeep and all that. And I did, But anyway, it had a cassette deck in there. Man, that's all I listened to for so many months, was just Van Halen. One cassette album after the other, man, just rotating them out. And that's all I would do. And let me just check this chat real quick. We'll get back to it. Yes, Mr. Bruce says, thank you. I have had this avatar since Eddie passed. Well, that was a year ago today, wasn't it? Man, wow. Well, that's cool, Bruce. Bozique, what's he saying now? Oh, he says, good point, Joe. I wish I could find a way to what is that? Monetize my guitar addiction so I could quit the regular 9 to 5. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know. I don't even have time to play now. But anyway, so I started getting those cassette albums. That's what I've always called them, because people say, I got that album, and I'm like, the actual album? No, it's on cassette. I was like, okay, well, that's a cassette format, Anyway, so I started listening to that all the time. And I was just like blown away, but like everybody else with Eddie, I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then, of course, like many other inspiring guitarists, I heard Eruption, and, the rest is history. So I would in my mom and dad's house back in Charlotte, the house I grew up in, we moved in there when I was 5, and I moved out when I, got married for the first time. And, but when I was 16 and I had that Lie Without a Net playing, downstairs, it was, you got to remember, this was a different era. So nowadays you got smart TVs. You can go in any room where a smart TV is, even on your phone, and just pull up what you want. But back then, the downstairs, the den is what they called it. You had that was the entertainment mecca of where you would watch movies and everything else, and the VCR was hooked to the entertainment center, all that stuff. Well, my guitar and my little amp, had a little Gorilla amp, was up in my bedroom. So I would come downstairs, and my parents were asleep. This is like, 11 o'clock at night or something. I'd come down the steps, man, have my guitar on, and I'd have the Lie Without a Net on the TV, and I would have it paused when Eddie was doing his solo. And every once in a while I would have a close-up of his hands, and I would freeze it, And of course, back then with VHS, VCR, sometimes the picture would be distorted, and you couldn't. But sometimes you could hit it just right, and it'd be a clear picture, But anyway, I would watch that and rewind it so many times, and I was trying to learn a little something, and I would have my guitar, and I was, okay, I think he's doing this. I'd go back up 2 flights of steps to my room, hook up my guitar with cable, and I'd go, is that what he's doing? You know, and it was a lot of back and forth, which, I don't know. It's just, the whole point is he inspired me big time to just keep trying, even today, man. But I feel that I have finally found my own voice with guitar. Of course, Eddie, you can hear a lot of his influence in my playing, and I really try to add my own flavor to it, because there are so many guitarists, even on YouTube now, that will play note for note everything he does, and they sound amazing. They sound incredible. But to be totally honest with you, I never could do that. You know, I could get little bits and pieces, and then I said, you know what, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find your own kind of voice, as they say. But, yeah, I mean, you know, I got to the point where I was listening to Van Halen so much, I actually got burnt out. And it was like the world was passing me by with all this other music that was going on. And I was like, I need to listen to something else. I was in this Van Halen bubble for so long. And so, yeah, this shirt right here, I don't know if you can tell. I got this, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Professor of Rock YouTube channel. Well, they had this shirt, and it's called, it says 1984. Let's see, it's backwards. So this right here is Bruce Springsteen. And, of course, that's Eddie. And then that's Prince. And I don't know who this person is supposed to be. I don't know if it's the dude from Duran Duran or what. But it's supposed to be like the big four that happened in 1984. That they made the biggest impact on the music scene in 84. And the reason I got it is, you know, it's got Eddie here. Professor of Rock YouTube channel. Check it out, man. They do some great interviews and stuff. So anyway, it's just, you know, when you, how do I say this? When you look up to somebody like, for me, Eddie Van Halen, as far as a guitarist standpoint, you know, you think nothing will ever happen to that person, you know, because they're just on this pedestal, or, you know, you put them on there, whether you mean to or not. And, but man, I look back and I look at on YouTube, different videos of him or whatever, man, he did a lot of partying, man. His father passed away at 66, and Eddie passes away at 65. And his father was known for, you know, drinking a lot, smoking a lot. And you know, I'm not passing judgment on anything, but you know, it's sad. And I just got the book, Eruption: Conversations with Eddie Van Halen. This book just came out not long ago, and I just happened to look it up on Audible yesterday, and the audio format of that book is available. I bought it, and so it's different interviews that Eddie has done. And they kind of do it like somebody's asking him a question and somebody else is reading the for Eddie. You know, it's pretty interesting. A lot of the stuff I'm familiar with already, but as a fan, you'll buy stuff like this just to maybe, hopefully, find something, a little nugget of information that you didn't know before. You know, but it's I just got it yesterday, so I just started it. I think it's like 10 hours and some change. And for me, driving all the time, that's perfect. You know, Bozique chimes in. He goes, I never watch regular TV mostly. It's YouTube, guitar-related stuff, and some other stuff that I like. Might as well get rid of Netflix and HBO. Never watch it anymore. You know, that's wild that you say that, Bozique, because we're the opposite. We have Netflix. I just recently got HBO Max, and we got Hulu, YouTube TV. That was the big game changer for us, because we were paying like $270 something a month for cable and internet through Spectrum. And YouTube TV allows you to watch your local channels, so I got that. And we took our cable boxes back to Spectrum and said, hey, we don't want this no more. So yeah, save a lot of money. Bozique says, yeah, the professor of Rock Channel, that guy's a historian. Yeah, what's his name? His name's Adam something. Yeah, he is very informative on his stuff, man. He's I think I would say that me and him are around the same age, and that's another big thing when I watch, and it just it kind of, it's like, damn, dude,
You're getting old.
I was like, damn, it's like I know exactly what he's talking about. I remember that point in my life that I can relate to it so well. And I'm like, damn, that was that many years ago. So anyway, but you think, back to Eddie, you think that nobody of that stature nothing can happen, but he did party a lot, man. And as fans, I think we all kind of knew something was up because they didn't put anything out. No new material, nothing. He kind of stayed out of the spotlight a lot. But we found out later, after everything has happened, that, he was going to treatments, and all that stuff. And wow, man. And some pictures were leaked out on the internet where, which I thought was not cool, man. He looked rough. I was like, come on, man, let the man have his privacy, But anyway, and then toward the end there was a couple of, I remember seeing a little video on Instagram where he said, hey, Eddie Van Halen here. It's all about the music, man. Just keep playing, or I'm coming after you, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, and I was like, damn, he looks good. He's Eddie went through a lot of different looks, I guess, which, that's what everybody does when they get older. But he was always able to, in my opinion, to just look cool, no matter if he was 25 or 55, or he was always able to look cool. And he adjusted with the times, I guess. I don't know. I thought that was pretty wild. I was like, wow, man, it's really cool. Charlie S. is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie S. is in the house. He goes, hey, Mr. Wentz, what's up, brother? Charlie, what is happening? Thank you for being in here. Pooh Ninja, what? He says, like me and you, Joe, always cool. What? Oh, my God. Oh, Pooh, boy. Pooh's crazy, man. Let's see. Bozique is saying something here. Bozique says, the last thing I recall was that video Wolfgang posted where he tells the fans, just keep playing. Yes, yeah, that was I'm sure that's the same one I'm talking about as well, Mr. Bozique, yeah. But anyway, he, then a year ago today, Eddie passes, right? And like anybody else that's a guitar player and you're really, into playing and all that, I started getting some messages on my phone. My phone it wasn't blowing up because I don't, I had a couple of messages from friends. They said, hey, man, did you hear what happened? I'm like, no, because, I work nights, man. So I get home really early in the morning and then I crash, man. I go to sleep, wake up, around 12, between 12 and 1. And I pick up my phone and I check it, first to see what time it is. And then I look and there was a few text messages on there, in some private, what do you call it? Messenger, through Facebook Messenger. And a couple of people that don't even play guitar, and some people that I went to school with that I'm friends with on Facebook. And they was like, hey, man, I heard what happened. I know you're, feeling down or something. And I didn't know what they were talking about. And I was like, what? And then, of course, I found out. And another buddy of mine texted me and goes, man, is that true or is that just a hoax? And I looked it up and sadly it was true, and I said, yeah, man, Eddie's passed. But look, man, he left behind a wonderful catalog of music that we can reflect on anytime we want to, And well, let me just segue, just do a side note here about Wolfie, Eddie's and Valerie's son, Wolfgang. He just wrapped up a tour with Guns N' Roses, all right? And that young man he's incredible. And all the people that give him so much hate and jealousy, I don't understand that. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Leave that man alone. He's people, or you want to play any Van Halen? Dude, come on, man. He has to be himself and play his music. And we all know, if you have any common sense, that's what his father wants or wanted. He wants his son to be himself and play his own stuff. And he's incredible. He's an incredible musician, man. Metal Mike, hey, what's going on, Metal Mike? He says, EVH forever. That is right. Metal Mike, how are you, sir?
Metal Mike. Metal Mike 5150.
Yeah, there's a lot of us, man, that I kind of put it on the same level as Elvis, for me, in my opinion, because there's people that don't want to, I don't know if accept is the right word, but there's a lot of people that just don't want to let them go, and for us guitar players, that's how we felt about Eddie, because Eddie changed the game so much, man. And like I said, he inspired millions of people. Mike, hey, thanks, man. I'm doing okay, man. Thank you for jumping in and saying hello. I appreciate it very much, man. Thank you. And then, I couldn't wait for another Van Halen album to come out. I couldn't wait. I was like, what's he going to do now? Because he always does something where he ups the game, whether that was intentional or not. I think it was just the way Eddie played. I think that was just what he did. He's a musician. You got to remember he was a trained pianist, classic pianist for years before he even started messing with guitar, so. But every time a new album would come out, I was like, oh, man, what you going to do? I remember when For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge came out. I remember going to the record store. I was still living in Charlotte, and I walked in there, and, man, they had all these promotional things in there, these cardboard cutouts and these posters. I was like, holy shit, man. I was like, I want to take that stuff, And I actually I wish I still had it, but the other record store I talked about earlier, when I was working at the kind of like the little strip mall thing, a girl that worked in there I went to school with, her name's Linda, really nice person. She let me have one of the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge posters. She took it off the wall and she let me have it, and didn't tell nobody. So I hope she never got in trouble for that. And I wish I still had it. It was a promotional poster that you just didn't find anywhere, But yeah, I couldn't wait for a new album to come out, man, because it was just, there was going to be something different and something cool. And I was just like, damn. And his tone would always change too. And his tone on that album was incredible. I think, I could be wrong. I want to say Andy Johns produced that album, I believe. Mr. Bruce chimes in. He says he's just like his father. Wolfgang is creative, and he is himself. He is also playing music and touring. Yeah, I want to say, don't quote me on this, I want to say that he just wrapped up his tour with Guns N' Roses. And I don't know if the whole tour is finished. I know we're getting into fall here. I don't know. I didn't really look into all that, but I saw where he posted on Facebook. He said, I want to thank Guns N' Roses for an amazing tour, and that's incredible, man. I'm so happy for his Wolfgang. I think it's just amazing, And the people that give him a lot of crap, man, shame on them. Let that man be himself. Let's see, but Zeke, what's he say here? For unlawful carnal knowledge era, I was around 15. That's when I got into being a Van Halen fan big time. Yes, and when they released the live concert, was it Live Right Here, Right Now? Is that? I think that's it, because they did 2 live concert videos, right? Live Without a Net, and then Live Right Here, Right Now, I believe. And yeah, that was amazing. Bozy, you were 15 when For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was released? Man, I thought you was about my age. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool, man. When did that come out? Let's see. Because Sammy left or quit in, 96? So I think For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I think that was released, in 94? 94, 95? Bozique, you're 46. Okay. Cool, man. We're still in the kind of... Oh, was it 90, 91? Was it? Okay, I was way off then. I couldn't remember when it was released, but... Man, when you hear, again, the genius of Eddie, when you have Pound Cake as the first track and you hear the drill, and when I first heard that, I thought, oh, that's a drill. I said, what's he doing with a drill? And for a split second, I thought, man, he's run out of ideas and he's using a power tool, to do something. I mean, but then he incorporates it. I mean, that thought was in my head just for 5 seconds. And then he incorporates it where he's doing some of the solo and he hits it to make it sound like the guitar is going up like a couple of steps in pitch. And it was incredible. And I thought, the light bulb went on. I said, oh, I get it now. I see what he's doing, Okay, there we go. Thank you, Bozique. The album Balance was in 95. And I saw that tour, not the tour, but I saw that show from that tour. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. But yeah, he was just so inventive, man. It was just, he said I just saw a drill sitting over there in my studio one day and I just did that. And I was like, that's incredible. Now I have to be fair. The only other guitar player I saw use a drill was Paul Gilbert. He would put those picks on the end of the drill, and he would use it where he's picking, But Eddie used it in a whole different aspect. That was incredible, It was awesome. Johnny Bean, what is going on? How are you doing, Johnny Bean? The place to go for all your EVH information.
Right here on YouTube, Johnny Bean TV.
Oh, you changed it. What you took the TV off? Or maybe you just didn't type it in. I don't know. Anyway, man. But yeah, that's he could incorporate so much different stuff, man, and he would make it work. There was a part of Eddie, you could just tell, man. I mean, do you ever notice a lot of great guitar players that have went down in the history books? A lot of them are just they're just kind of weird, But there's that part of them in their brain, they're just a genius, And it's like, whoa, man! And it's like, how did he come up with that idea? How did he do that? And so it's Man. Let's see. Johnny, what you saying, man? You were there when I changed it to TV. The address. Yeah. I remember we done that around the same time. We were messaging each other. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you still had that on there because I was like, I thought we kind of talked about that. God, that was so long ago. Man, what was that? Like 5 years ago or something? It was a long time ago. But yeah, man. So. Yeah, Eddie, he could just come up with so many crazy things. And I just, like I said, I saw them twice. The first time I saw him was on the OU812 tour. And I look now on where they do that live concert in, was it Japan? And I remember I said, that's from that era, the OU812 tour, because they all, that's how they looked during that tour. And that was my first concert with them in Charlotte. I was still living in Charlotte, and I went there to see. I went by myself, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Ed B is in the house. Hey, Ed, what's going on, man? Thank you for being here, Ed. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. But yeah, I was just, you have to look at it from my perspective. I was, what was I, in high school? I was a senior, I think. Let's see. And I went to that show, and I was like, now I actually get to see Eddie live. It's something I always wanted to do. And my seats weren't that great, but they weren't that bad. Ed, you made it, my friend. Thank you. Yes. And and they came out. I still remember the first song they played. I don't know how I remember this because I can't remember anything anymore. But I remember they played AFU, All Fired Up. They played that. That was the first song they played. And the last song they played was Rock and Roll, the Led Zeppelin. And I was like, hey, that's just like off their concert video, man. I couldn't even speak when I got out of that concert from screaming so much, and I was goosebumps all over, man. And you walk out of the venue and people are hooting and hollering and they're, partying. And I get my Chevy Cavalier and I pop in. I already had a Van Halen cassette album in there. Had roll the windows down and jam that, turn it up. And I'm like, yeah, So I saw that OU812. I saw that. And then again, like 95 or whatever, I saw the Balance show. That's when Eddie had the short hair and had the headband, I think the sweatband on his head or whatever. Yeah, it was great, man. It was great. Let's see. And let's see, what's he saying here? Never had the fortune to see Eddie live. Oh man. Yeah, it was awesome. I was just, there's a few guitar players, well, more than a few that I was fortunate to see. One that's on my list that I was really lucky was B.B. King. I got to see him live. He was sitting in a chair, and it wasn't too long after that he passed, but I was glad to see B.B. King. I always loved B.B. King, man. And Joe Satriani, Eric Johnson, Johnny Lang. I've seen Vernon Reid of Living Colour. I've seen Joe Satriani again during the Flying in the Blue Dream tour. Man, God. Of course, Eddie, two different times. Bozique says his first Van Halen concert was Balance, April 26th of 95 at the Philadelphia Spectrum. Wow. Man, he's got the day and the month and the year. That's awesome.
Bozique is on top of it, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah. And so it was just, when you're, well, for me, let me just say, for me, when I was watching Eddie live, you know, it, to me, now this is going to sound silly, but if you're a musician, guitar player, whatever, you know where I'm coming from. But when I was watching him, I was like, he's playing just for me. Because I'm like, I'm the biggest fan out of all these thousands of people. I'm the biggest fan, which, you know, everybody's the biggest fan, which is great, you know. And I feel it always seemed that Eddie was always very humble. You know, he never showboated and said, yeah, I'm badass, I'm the best. You know, I never saw him do that. He was really cool, man. And his personality was very appealing and addictive. And, of course, when he had that grin on his face, you know, it was just really cool, you know. Let's see. Metal Mike chimes in with a comment. Thank y'all for commenting. I appreciate it. He says, I saw Joel on that tour. Oh, the Flying in the Blue Dream? That's when Satch had hair, you know. I remember when he went bald, I was just like, what? I don't know. But it don't matter. He's one of my favorite guitar players. I was watching some of his live stuff a couple of nights ago going down the road, man. Satriani, man. Holy crap. Come on, man. Ed says, yeah, he saw Satriani, Steve Vai, Tony McAlpine. I love Tony McAlpine, man. I remember hearing his stuff when I was in high school, and I was like, he was like the first guy I heard play that classical, neoclassical kind of shred, like Yngwie, you know. But him and Yngwie, of course, I heard in high school. But when I heard Tony McAlpine, he had more of a, to me, it was more melodic, and I really liked him a lot. Still do. Metal Mike chimes in one more time. He says, I saw Van Halen first on 0812. There you go. And then for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I was front row right in front of Eddie, and it was amazing. Oh, my God. That is incredible, man. Hey, there's Ralph the German Butcher, my man. What's up, man? The best guitar players have the coolest last names. Isn't that? That is the truth, man. That's a great point. Yeah, you don't hear of a great guitar player who has a corny last name like Wentz. You know? I'd have to change my name. Not that I could even be on that roster, but, you know. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my God. Who's he? That son of a bitch sucks. Tell him to change his name while he's at it. Bitch. I couldn't make it, man. Let's see. Metal Mike says, got crushed by thousands of people, but it was worth it. I'm telling you, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, it was it was just so cool to see him live and to hear. Because when you get there, I'm sure it's like everybody else. You're like, okay, is he going to be able to do what I hear on the album? Of course, man. It's Eddie freaking Van Halen, you know? It's Eddie. And, oh, man. Anyway, so Eddie Van Halen passes a year ago today. And, you know, that first year is always the toughest, I feel. Even though I didn't know him personally, you know, for everybody in the music world, guitar world, it's, you know, it's a big deal, man, because he was so innovative. Excuse me. He was so innovative. You know, the last person that was doing that was Hendrix, you know, and then Eddie he just blew everything out of the water, you know. Let's see. Bozique says, what's he saying? That's the one thing about it. Van Halen was one of those bands that sounded really great live. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, they had honed their craft big time, especially when they did all those backyard parties in their early days. Shit, man, they were playing to hundreds and hundreds of people in somebody's backyard, you know, and the cops would have to come break it up and helicopter flying over. I mean, this is serious, you know, and this is what, can you imagine trying to do that today? You get shot, you know, it wouldn't work. But Anyway, let me go over here. There's a part here I want to do, man, that let's get into this right quick, and we'll move on because we're getting close to having to wrap up.
And now, it's time to read your comments right here on the Daily Joe Podcast. Leave a comment, and it'll be read on the next show.
Yeah, man, we want to read some comments because I haven't had a chance to respond to comments. First of all, Dave Randalls is in the house. Mr. Randalls, how are you doing? Always popping in to show support for the channel. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, my friend. So, yeah, I said, you know what? I'll just go over these comments while I'm live because, man, I just don't have time to respond. And it's not because I'm like, I'm not responding to that. It's not like that at all. It's the time. I just don't have the time. But I can do it this way, and I think it would be good, if not even better, right? So my last, was it my last video? Well, I did a original called Returning Home, okay? And people were kind enough to comment on it. And let's play the video first, in case you haven't seen it. This is my latest original called Returning Home, and then we'll read the comments. Let's see if it might take a second for the audio and video to sync up, just how it works on StreamYard. But let's see what happens here. All right. Plenty of influences in that original track. And just a little side note here, a plug, if you will. If you look in the description, you'll see a link for this latest track. If you're interested in streaming it or buying it, whatever, just type in the Joe Wentz Project wherever you stream music, or if you check the links below, you can get it if you want. Okay, let's see here. Let me make this enlarge this here to try to. There we go. Let's see. So we're gonna do Mr. Frank C. Hey man, how are you? Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay, we're going to read these comments right here. Pardon me if I miss any words or stumble, because it's kind of hard to read the font here. But first, let's start with Ed B. He says, yes, Joe, totally digging this beautiful, the beautiful melodies and phrasing. Great positive vibes, and just overall a killer original track. Sorry I've been missing in action lately. Been a busy month. Finally, a moment this morning to pick up my guitar again and also listen to some cool new tunes. Glad this one suddenly popped up. A big like here, Joe. Cool. It's awesome to hear you recording original tracks. You rock. Ed, thank you, man, so much. That was really kind, man. Thank you so much. That's really nice. Now, I'm not sure how to pronounce this gentleman's name. I don't know if it's, if I mispronounce this and you watch this, sir, the Croatian rocker, is it FICO, or it might be pronounced totally different. I do apologize. He says, that sounds amazing, Joe. Like that riff, really cool tones, and your lead playing is outstanding. Thank you, man, very much. Definitely sounds like it was made in the 80s. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's showing my age, right? That's funny. But still, a very kind compliment. Nevertheless, thank you so much. Martin K, guitar cover. This sounds fantastic. Nice job. Thank you very much, sir, for your comment. That's really, really, really kind. Jack the Rabbit. Haven't seen him in a long time. He says, awesome original, Joe. This is killer. Thank you so much. And again, I'm just, going over these comments. I haven't had a chance to respond to people. So, Daniel Horsley, man. Daniel Horsley's an amazing guitar player. Very tasteful. He says, really great. He loves the melodies and killer tones. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. Rockin' Dave Byron. I watched some of his live stream last night. He says, awesome, Joe. Great playing, great song. Was that the new Zoom G6? Be safe, brother. Rock on and God bless. Yes, Rockin' Dave, that is the new Zoom G6. Yes, sir. The Picker Hat. Is that, am I reading that correctly? He says, cool tune and excellent playing, man. And awesome tone. Thank you. R2R3 Locking Nut. He says, absolutely awesome, bro. Amazing. Keep it up. Keep rocking. Thank you, R2, man. Thank you so much. R2's amazing too, man. Incredible player. Quentin James. He says, well done. Well done there, youngster. Thank you, Quentin. I appreciate it, man. You're very kind. Thank you. Jim Guidry. He says, that guitar sounds good. Nice song. Thank you. Yeah, that's the George Lynch LTD model. I think that guitar cost me $5.99, and I love the was it the Bengal print on it? Is that right? I could have that wrong, but yeah, I love that guitar, man. And that pickup is seriously hot in that guitar, man. I'm not sure who is this. Is it Janeth Ninsaka? I'm sorry if I get your name pronounced it incorrectly. They say, this is great. Thank you. Miss Janice Lala says, I like it. Thank you, Miss Lala. I appreciate that. And then, of course, Bozique says, cool song. And I love the George Lynch LTD. Yes. I do, man. I love that guitar as well. That is an amazing guitar. It's awesome. Let's see. Yes, Ed B says he heard some Satch. You can hear the influences in there, can't you? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can hear them. Like I said, I love Satch, and of course you can hear Eddie's influence as well. Frank C., how are you, sir? Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. You know, it's just fun to play. You know, and writing an original, for me, what I've always done is I've always laid down a drum track first and then tried to build the song from there, because you got to have your foundation right, and your drums are your timing. You know, you gotta have that first, and once you have that, you just kind of build from there. Nothing takes the place of jamming with a real drummer, or you know, actual people getting together and jamming. Nothing takes the place of that. But when you're in the position that I am, you know, you work with what you got, right? Let's see. Bozique chimes in here. He says that piece has an EVH meets Lynch Mob vibe to it. But Joe was playing his own spin on it instead of copying anybody else. Well, thank you, Bozique. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that came across. That's what I was hoping to convey, you know. And I think, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I think I've found my own voice on guitar. Well, I know I have. I know I have. It's just when you're constantly, you know, playing and trying to get better or whatever, and then you start writing songs, you really see, and I'm not trying to sound cocky or nothing. I'm not trying to do that at all, but you really see what you're made of when you start to write your own stuff. It's one thing to do cover songs, and look, if anybody loves to play covers, that's me. I love that stuff because it's the songs that made me want to play music in the first place. It wasn't just Eddie. It was a lot of other bands too. Eddie was the primary one that kicked it off. But if you think to yourself, okay, well, what can I write? What can I play? And you just take bits and pieces of everything that you love listening to through your life, and you just kind of mix it up, and you kind of put your own spin on it, I guess, you know. But I think that's really, you know, you're putting yourself out there. And so, I mean, it's good for you if you're a guitar player, musician, whatever, and you kind of get down the techniques on how to play and what to do, and you start to hone your craft, you know, get it better, get it smooth. You know, look, man, I have hundreds and hundreds of songs that I've done in the past that I still have on CD, you know, and I'll go back and listen to that stuff, and I'm like, I can kind of hear what I'm going for there, but it ain't there at that point in time. It ain't there yet. And you fast forward 10 years later, and it's like, oh, okay, I think I'm kind of there, you know. But you have to reach your own plateau, you know, to express yourself, right? Maybe that sounds totally stupid, but that's the only way I can explain it, you know. I can always express myself better with a guitar anyway. Ed B Metal says, yes, I usually start with the drums too and build on that. Yeah, that's always worked for me. I might have an idea for a riff in my mind, and then you know, try to go from there if I can. Metal Mike has a question. Where do you get your drum tracks? Okay, there's a couple of things you can do, Mike. I actually have a Beat Buddy drum pedal that I got it hooked up to my setup right now because it's got stereo outs, and so I'm using that just as a, you know, so I can go through it and make it stereo. But Beat Buddy drum pedal is great. I used to use that a lot a few years ago. And now I use some software called Easy Drummer 2. Thanks to brother Jim Guidry for pointing me in that direction and hooking me up on how to use that. And that's what I use currently. Easy Drummer 2 software. It's really simple to build your tracks. Bo Zeke with the super chat. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you, Bo Zeke. You didn't have to do that, man. He says he's got to get going. The boss just walked in. Oh my God. Oh shit. All right. Thank you, Bo Zeke. Thank you very much for that super chat, man. Thank you. Easy Drummer 2, I believe is what it's called, Metal Mike. So it's really easy to, you take like your intro, bring it down here, and then your verse, and you can build it. It's really easy to build it. And I had another software, drumming software that it was like $170-something, and I got it, and I hated it. That was a waste of money, but the Easy Drummer 2 is very user friendly, and it's so easy to build up your drum tracks that way. That's what I use, and that's what you're hearing on that. And you have to, when you're building your tracks, you'd have to just keep in mind, okay, put your verse rhythm here, and then put a fill here, and put your chorus drum stuff here. You have to think about the changes. That was always my biggest thing when I first started. I didn't want to have it just the same beat all the way. I mean, look, when you're practicing, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to put out an original, because we live in a video era now. People want to watch videos. They don't want to watch a blank screen and just hear music, right? But if you're going to put something out there, you have to, I call it attention to detail. You have to make sure your drums have the proper fills, the proper changes, so it's not, because that'll get old quick. There's got to be some changes. There has to be some changes going on. You can't just have the same thing, right? And that's not easy, Ralph the German Butcher. It's easy to overdub the drum track. Yeah, it is. Thanks to the software and all that, it does make it easy for somebody like me. But like I said, it doesn't take the place of like when Ralph and I do our cover songs and all that stuff. We put a lot of into that stuff, man. It's not just like okay, this is what we're going to do, and then we have it ready to the next day, or it's just, there's a lot that goes into it, man. If you want it to be right, that's what gets me. I'll say this before we wrap up. That's what gets me is I really don't think people understand what like Ralph and I, anybody else that really takes the music serious, what we put into it. I don't think they take into consideration of all the work that goes into that. It's really easy to have your phone set up in front of you, and you're sitting there and you're playing and all that. That's all well and good if that's what somebody wants to do. But if you want to take it to the next level, man, it takes some work. There's a lot of learning curves involved. But the kickback from that is being able to go back and watch it. To go back and watch that and say, man, we did that. But anyway, it's been a great hour here. We're kind of going over. I need to get ready to slide on out of here. Thank y'all, everybody, for being here. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. It's been a year today. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for the super chats. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to check the links below for my latest single, Returning Home, T-shirts, anything else you want to check out, social media, it's all down there in the description. Until next time, this is Joe for the Daily Joe Podcast. We will see you later. God bless everybody. Keep rocking. Bye-bye.
She came in and sat down right in front of me. She picked up a glass of wine as I took to see.